we mentioned Quagsire, and he's just here chilling in my hands. So I'm quite hyped about Quagsire, not only because it picks up a nice freebie. Like you said, I reckon Reshizard can bop Zoroark still just because he gives up 2 prizes at a time, right? Like if they hit a dot. They're taking 1 prize against this fella, and he ain't gonna struggle to hit you back. And he picks up the fighting one as well, so he can start slamming your Pikaroms. So Demetri, how are we feeling about Nagquag moving forward?
Yeah, I can see the appeal behind it, just because people love to just play a deck that auto wins, like the BDIF.
Yep.
Just because they want to go into a tournament and just get free wins.
Yeah.
However, I feel like a lot of people do that, and they underestimate the amount of other matchups they will face. Like, yeah, you can go into a 9-round regionals, but I think at most you'll play against 3 Zards. Like, if you play against more, you're pretty lucky. But you play against 3 Zards, yes, you'll win those. But can you win enough other matchups for it to be good?
Right.
Is the question.
So your sort of Quagsire success.
Yeah.
You think it depends on if it can pick up wins against your Zoros.
Yeah.
Against your I don't know other stuff, Pikaroms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My rebuttal to that is you got yourself what? So if you think so, you got yourself you got all the fire stuff, right? Yeah. And then you got Pikaroms as well. That's still gonna be dotted about. We'll talk more about that later. Just saying. But did you not think between all the fire stuff? And I don't know if the fighting type Quagsire alone like auto wins you thingamabob. I guess it doesn't, but it helps out a lot, right? Because you can do the 3 for 1 thing. So do you think between the fire stuff and the electric stuff, you wouldn't be confident taking it to a 9-rounder?
Personally, no. But that's just a personal thing, because I don't like playing like these counter decks.
Okay,
like which sole purpose is to beat the best deck in format. But other people would like definitely be fine taking it, and a lot of people will.
Okay, Jack, what's your thoughts on Nagquag?
I do like taking the counter decks, and I would play Nagquag.
Here we go.
The thing I would do to Nagquag is I would, and again, this is I keep justifying this is only theory, but I think I would play the Fighting Quagsire, and I would also play an Onix.
Yeah, no, I can get behind that.
One of the biggest issues with the deck is consistency. And whilst getting 3 Whoopers down turn 1 is great, sometimes you can't do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't do that against the aggressive electric stuff, and sometimes Pikarom will be able to tag bolt 2 Quagsires or 2 Whoopers or Quagsire Whooper.
Yeah.
If you get 3 Whoopers down, they always leave you with a Quagsire, or an out to a Quagsire. So if you also play Onix, you don't need 2 Whoopers down. Like in an ideal world, they're probably not doing that, and they're probably Guzma Zapdosing Weepers anyway. So it's not ideal, but I think it does gain enough. Like you say, it's a non-EX, so it trades up. When it gets set up, I think it is genuinely one of the strongest decks in format.
Yeah.
It's just that getting set up, and that is why I'm still not sold on just playing one Fighting Quagsire.
Yeah.
I would, like I say, I'd also play an Onix at least this weekend to trial it, because the other thing about the first weekend of a new format is people have less access to the cards, and people have less access to refined lists. So you're more likely to see, if there's a weekend where there will be not much Reshizard, it will be this weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe you should build it a little bit more towards beating the Fighting Week stuff than the Water Week stuff. Because you beat the Water Week stuff anyway, you just do.
Yeah.
So adding in a second fighting card, I think, is fine. I know there's a couple of people out there that are not diehard Quag players, but that are heavy Quag players that will say, no, we only need 1 Onix, or no, we only need 1 Quagsire. I'm in the camp of this week playing both. Again, maybe that's due to my lack of testing. Maybe I would, in testing, have found one that I like more than the other. But, I think Cawthorn's list was pretty close to the money. I think a couple of changes can be made. The only thing that scares me about Quagsire is I think Field Blower is a good card again.
Yeah.
And Quagsire was able to really, really run riot in a format where Field Blower wasn't being played. Every Zoro, I think, will be playing Field Blower, and every Greens deck will be playing Field Blower, and I think even some Reshizard, some Pikarom lists will be playing Field Blower. That's the only thing that scares me about Quagsire.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll say this about all of the decks that I talk about that I would play if I was going to a cup this weekend. One of them is Quagsire, and that's the only thing I'd be worried about. People's field blow accounts going up, especially for cups, because you can face more random random decks in cups. But I think the deck seems relatively well placed. I am a counter of the meta fan rather than a meta fan. I think Zoro is one of the only Zapdos is one of the only times I've played meta. You could argue that Zoro is always meta, but I've always played Zoro with answers to counter the meta rather than Zoro normal stuff. So like Zoro is kind of a counter to the meta in like the whole time, because it's just a consistent deck that puts in stuff to beat whatever's doing good. But yeah, in general, I like playing these counter decks, and I think Quag is a really, really cool one. I liked playing. I played Quag when it first came out, and I've definitely wanted to pick it up again in the past couple of weeks. There he is. Look at him waving. He just wants to be played. He just wants to wash out people.
My favourite one is the fighting one. How he's just flirting through the harbour. He's on his way to that peak bomb. Gonna get a big slap on the face, take 3 poison, just slide himself away.
There's pros and cons to both of the fighting guys.
Yeah.
It's a difficult decision, but yeah, I think I'd play both just because.
With you. I'll play both.
The other thing is, I think people won't expect it.
Yeah.
I think they'll kill the fighting one and be like, "Oh, it's done." Yeah. And then you drop an Onyx down.
You just drop another one. They're like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Charge up, wash out, bing. Here we go. No, I think I agree with both. At least, like you said, until the finalists come out, I agree with both. So.